Hello and welcome to Up the Villa podcast. If you're new to our channel, subscribe. Make sure if you're rewatching this video, drop it a like and get involved in the comment section down below. So it feels like forever since we did a podcast about Aston Villa talking about a game. So can't wait to get into this one. So Hannah and Justin, how are you? Good bank holiday?
Yes, not bad, thanks. Been to watch a local non-league team, so that was interesting today.
And to be fair, I always watch over Blackpool's results. Does anyone know what the score was today for Blackpool?
Not sure. I think they might have scraped a win today. I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it rhymes with a mix mon. I don't right. We might rhyme with that. I'm not sure.
Always love a bit of rock. Up the Blackpool.
Basically, up the Blackpool. So we'll start it off then with talking about Aston Villa, 125 years at Villa Park. So Villa fans, in the comment section down below, drop your fondest memory of watching Aston Villa at Villa Park. Justin, you can kick it off then. What is your number one moment you've witnessed at Villa Park?
It's too many, isn't there, to even start to pick your best memories. But I mean, one of my best memories, and it's just personal to me, was one of the first games I ever went down to see in the first few years. I used to sit first row of the north stand. It was a great view. It still is a good view, to be fair. It's because it's high enough to still see the pitch, but low enough to feel like you're really involved in the game. And at that point, all the away fans used to sit below us. And I remember playing Derby County. I think Peter Shilton was in goal for them. This was David Platt era. And just before half time, the lad I used to go with got up to go to the toilet, and David Platt rounded the keeper and buried it, and we won 1-0. And I remember the whole of the second half saying, if this stays 1-0, you've basically come to the Villa and you've missed the only goal. So that was quite a big memory for me. But in the early days, because, you know, those are things that you know that ingrain you in the club, aren't they? Things like that. And from then onwards, really, there's been a catalogue. I mean, I was there for the Inter Milan. I was sat in the lower north stand, Inter Milan penalty shootout when Phil King scored right behind the goal. The other one, Kent Nielsen goal against Inter Milan, 2-0 at home. There's just been the semi-final against Tranmere, the penalty shootout was just amazing. You know, Villa Park is just 125 years, and there's thousands of great moments, isn't there, to pick from. It's such a historic ground. Even non-Villa fans, the amount of FA Cup semi-finals it's held. I remember that I think it was the Crystal Palace against Liverpool, was it that one? Massive game. So yeah, huge. What a great ground it is, and recently we're going to have it renewed and made bigger. So I just hope they can keep the essence of the club and the ground for what it is, which I think they are. They're going to do that. But it's home, isn't it? It's our home, and we all love it so much.
So Dean is in the chat. He's dropped us £2, and he's a fan of Hannah. So thanks, mate, for dropping that in there. So if you are watching, drop the video a like. It'll help push it out to YouTube, and it just works well with the algorithm as well. And drop your fondest memories of being at Villa Park. So Hannah, what would you say yours is?
Yeah, I think just whilst it's on my memory, obviously Justin just mentioned about keeping sort of the heritage and tradition of Villa Park. I don't know how many other people sat through the very long survey that Villa put out on all the changes, and quite a chunk of that was on about like what we feel draws us to Villa Park, what we want to see change, and a big factor was sort of like the tradition of Villa Park. So I feel like after the fan meeting and things like that, they are really considering how to make sure we, maintain that and we don't become one of these sort of heartless bowl stadiums. Anyway, back onto my memory. Mine are probably, a lot of mine are a recent history at Villa Park. There's three that really stand out that I feel like a lot of people will remember because they were recent. My favourite one is probably still that day, that warm August day, first season back in the Premier League when we played Everton at home. I just remember walking up to Villa Park, everyone was in the t-shirts. Villa, like the ground was glowing. It was sunny. It was warm. And we got our first home win back in the Premier League, and it felt incredible. And it was the atmosphere that day, wasn't it? That everyone still talks about how amazing was that atmosphere. So that one still stands out as just like one of those days where you think back as a Villa fan and think that is what it's all about. Like those days that are just so special and you don't forget about them. And then probably, I think someone in the chat mentioned Trez at the back post. That one was brilliant. Obviously in the cup to go through to Wembley, the last minute goal from Trezeguet, those scenes and everyone running onto the pitch, getting told off in the process. That was brilliant, you know, watching Tyrone Mings singing his heart out and Trezeguet being lifted up. Like, again, just the passion of that was just brilliant, wasn't it? And then another last minute beauty was obviously the Watford game.
Yeah, that was good.
Where we were 1-1 in the second half, thanks to that Douglas Luiz goal. And then you just thought, it's going to be a draw. We really needed wins at that point, didn't we? It was January. It was a cold, horrible night. Watford, Deeney scored. You know, he's pulling faces at the whole 10. And you think, oh, for God's sake. But to get that sweet, sweet justice at the end, the goal in the 92nd, 93rd minute, last kick of the game, and just the passion on the players' faces. Obviously, we had a really good bunch of players at that time that you did feel like we're going to put up a fight for us to stay in the Premier League, and those memories really do stick out. There's just, I think those three are just all about passion, aren't they? And those are the ones that we remember because they were the moments where we felt such extreme levels for our club, and it really showed on the pitch and off the pitch. So those are my three.
Yeah, to be fair, back post Trez, Leicester at home, semi-final. That's probably one of my fondest memories as well. Me and Ryan, we did the cup game, and it was 1-1 at their place. And you know when you're just bubbling, it's building, and there's a bit of a cup fever brewing, and to do that in sort of the last 9 minutes of a semi-final, it was the scenes. Then we was having a pretty torrid time in the league as well, weren't we? So. You know, that was massive. But one performance that I'll always remember at Villa Park was Benteke's hat-trick against Sunderland, because at the time, it was touch and go whether we were going to stay in that league at the time. And I just remember that performance from Benteke, Vlaar's blaster from like virtually halfway line.
Yeah. Everyone shout, shoot!
For whatever reason, that day just sticks in my head. For whatever reason. So it's memories, isn't it? And it's
I tell you,
at stadium.
One game I remember as well, I'm going back again, is when I was a kid, we beat Everton 6-2 at home, and we were 6-0 up. I think it was Ian Olney got 2, Cowan's got 1, I think Nielsen got 1, Platt got 2. And I always remember we were 6-0 up cruising, and Everton scored 2 really late goals, and I was gutted coming out that they'd scored 2. But yeah, phenomenal. What a treasure trove of games we could all, sift through and close. But, just an amazing stadium. And
if we think back to part of, our first season back when we were fighting for survival, and the first part of last season when, there was lots of great memories that we weren't there for. Now, if it would have been different if fans were in the stadium, who knows? But, we missed out on the 7-2 against Liverpool, the wins, against Arsenal and in Crystal Palace when we were fighting to survive. Like, we missed out on a lot of good memories, didn't we? So I feel like we're still trying to get back to Villa Park being what we remembered it like before COVID, because obviously, we had a long spell of not being there, and a lot of us missed it a lot, and we've come back, and I feel like we're missing a little bit of magic sometimes. So I'm looking forward to getting some of them really special moments, hopefully in the last few games of this season.
Definitely. So we've had a lot of happy memories, and Christian Perslow spoke last week about our renovation of Villa Park. And it practically is a renovation of Villa Park, starting off with the North Stand, going towards the Trinity Road with more corporate and everything like that. So, Justin, what's your feeling towards it now? Because it sounds pretty exciting. I think whenever a club are going to expand the foundations of what the club is built inside of, it's really good, isn't it? And I think there's plenty of Villa fans that want to get down Villa Park but can't at the minute because we just don't have the seats available, and it looks. And we did our finance episode, and we spoke about what's at stake and how we've got to improve as a club to reach the levels of, say, Spurs, West Ham. Financially, with match day experiences and everything like that, the packages. So, what are your thoughts?
Chuffed to bits. It's something that's been coming a long time. I know under, I think back to Doug Ellis days, I think he probably wanted to upgrade it after he'd finished doing all the stands. And then I know Randy Lerner had a few plans. I'm quite good friends with Tony Diffley, who was the stadium manager at the time. He's retired now. And I know that there were plans in place under Randy Lerner to increase the stadium. I think Tony Shah had I think was carrying on those plans, and then that's just carried on through to the new ownership who have announced these plans this week. And whatever you think of Christian Purslow, he's a fantastic talker, isn't he? And when he came out and did that little spiel, you can't help but get excited. We've got good owners that are going to invest. I think one of the best things about what he said was that it's a 10-year plan overall to enhance the stadium. Now, that means that the owners are planning over the next 10 years. So all the worries about maybe them not sticking around if things don't go well, I think that's blown that out the window, hasn't it? The initial plan to knock what is, I've just said that I did have a season ticket in the North Stand. It's a lovely stand and it's very historical, but it's past its best now. The concourses are quite poor. I know a few people that sit in the lower and the leg room's not that good. So it is the stand that needs doing the most, and I think that's why they're going to knock it down and start again. I can't wait to see the designs. I think we're all looking forward to seeing those. I think they will stick pretty rigorously to the history of the ground and what we all want, because the last thing you want to do is annoy the fan base. And I think we're under consultation now before the plans get finalised, which is nice to see as well. The fans getting some kind of input, and I would urge anybody, like Hannah said, that hasn't done that online survey to get on and do it, because you can't say you're not having a say if you don't do these surveys. And it takes probably about 10 minutes, but put everything in that you want, and hopefully the club will listen to see that's what's going to happen. And then they're going to move on to the other stands by the look of it, whether that's making, I think somebody I went to did the stadium tour, and somebody, now how true this is, said that there's a potential of putting another tier on the Doug Ellis stand as well at some point. I don't know how true that is, but from what Christian Purslow says, they will be moving on to the other stands, whether that's just cosmetically or just to sort out the refreshment areas and stuff. But when you look around at the modern stadiums, and I'm talking about like the Tottenham Stadium and the ones that have been built recently, then you look at what their fans have got. I've got a friend who's a big Tottenham fan, and you look at the concourses they've got there with huge amount of seating space and the televisions and instant access to food and drink. It's got to come. Villa have got to step up their game, because the amount of money, revenue they miss out on at half time because the people just won't go down and queue up. You've got to queue everything, haven't you? You've got to queue for everything. So we need enhanced everything, really. So it's not going to happen overnight, and just starting the North Stand rebuild first will be a great start, and then moving on to it. But one thing I will say, as people might know, that I'm a bit of a history buff and I love memorabilia, is we desperately need a Villa museum. We just do, because we are one of the most historic, oldest, most, honoured clubs in the world, let alone in England. And we haven't got anywhere that you can go and look back at our history and tradition and what we stand for. We all know what we are, and it's a shame that hopefully that will come as well. I think it desperately needs to happen.
Do you think they're going to have to buy it all back off you, though, Justin?
Yeah, they can have it, mate. When you go down, I don't know if you've done the tour, but there's bits and bobs just scattered around everywhere, and it's lovely to see it, but you have to sort of get it pointed out to you as you're going through each different room. But you get to Manchester United or wherever, and they've got a museum. They've got the Manchester United Museum, and we've got more than enough history to fill a museum, let alone with trophies, let alone with all the stuff that we've done over the years. So it's something I really hope that's something. I did put it on my survey when it said anything else, so I hope somebody reads it.
So Hannah, what do you want to see from the new designs then? And do you feel like it should have a new name? To be fair, the North Stand's pretty boring, isn't it, really? I mean, you know what I mean? It's got to be called something better than that.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, there's endless possibilities of what they could rename it as. But I think if they're putting out surveys and having fan consultations where everyone's like, keep the history, are they then going to test the waters by wanting to change the name? I'm not sure. Am I that sentimental about it? No, but I'm also probably in a new generation of Villa fans that doesn't mind a little bit of change. So take it or leave it, I suppose, as long as it was like a good name or if it was dedicated to a really influential player or something. I don't know. I think the key thing Justin's mentioned there is the fact that this is a 10-year plan. I don't really have any worries about these owners as long as what's happening on the pitch supports them, because, you know, if we need to follow up on field with results in order to support it, because, you know, not only does winning generate more revenue, you know, each place in the Premier League, but also you win more games, you sell more shirts, you get more people in the ground, you're selling more food, etc. So I think an integral part to this 10-year plan is making sure that Villa are successful, which is obviously why they are chucking money at players, because you get everything working on the pitch, you get higher up the table, everything else slots into place really nicely. So I think that is the key. I'm not worried about Wes Edens or Nassif. I think they'll stick around and they will invest a lot of money into this stadium. I sit in the Trinity, so I think it's probably one of the nicer ones. The concourse is all right. I think the only thing is, you, like anywhere else, you have to queue quite a long time. So just little things. But, you know, it's only recently that they've started putting up like the lunchtime kickoff back on the tellies and stuff like that. And because for a while they stopped doing that and it was just like an advertising screen. And you thought, come on, you know, you get people in there to watch the game, they're going to spend more money up there. So it just seemed counterintuitive. So I think if there's more things like that, they've also got rid of like the halftime entertainment. I know how people feel about that. I don't know, but, you know, they used to do the thing where they'd get people on the field and kick out a ball or something. They've got rid of stuff like that. So in a sense, I feel like there's less interactivity, less, you know, less stuff. I think at the minute they're trying to focus on outside, like they put the stage up outside that you two sat on in the last fan cam. So I think, yeah, trying to just get a bit more interactivity with the fans, I feel like that will help not only with like the atmosphere, but, you know, it will help the revenue. I don't mind the club making as much money as they want to make, as long as they're not fleecing us. Do you know what I mean? Don't put up the season tickets by 25%. Don't put ticket prices up in general by silly amounts. But do other things that are going to boost the interactivity and the connection with the club, because then you will just generate more honest revenue, because I'm happy to spend money at the club if I feel like they deserve it or they're providing a good service. So I think there's a long way to go in that respect, and just making sure things are better quality, like there's just a bit more heart and soul behind it. It's not just one big corporate machine, and then people will spend more money and then we can have even more nice things. So I think Doug Ellis would probably be the natural next step, wouldn't it? I can't think of where else would come after the North Stand, but yeah, making that a bit bigger. I have not actually been in the concourse of the Doug Ellis, so I'm not sure what it's like, but I've heard that it's not the best either. So I think we are slipping behind, and in terms of where we want to be, if we want to be challenging for Europe at some point in the next 1 to 2 years, we need a better stadium. And also, every time something comes around where we want to host a neutral game, like a semi-final or a European friendly or something, we've got a better stadium and a better, you know, set of facilities, we've got more chance of getting those kind of contracts, and then again, more money.
Well, I think this is why Perslow wants it done, I think, by 2028, because at the minute we don't meet the criteria to host big European Cup tournaments such as the Euros or a World Cup. We aren't falling in that bracket to host those events. So with a better stadium, better stands, we'll fall into that bracket and we'll be able to do so. So wouldn't it be great?
I think
2028?
One of the other biggest issues that seems to be coming out is obviously the infrastructure about getting people in and out of the area. You know, it was nice that you mentioned the Aston train station as well. That needs massive improvements. It sounds like there's an appetite to get that done as well. You know, car parking has always been a nightmare around Villa Park, but I think one of the things that would help that massively is, you know, there isn't many places venues you can go to when you're guaranteed, to draw 40,000 people and hopefully soon 50,000 people. So you've got to be able to retain a certain amount of people after a game. If there's something for you to do after the game for even half an hour or an hour, then people are going to hang about, and that'll help with the disbursement of people. That'll help with the queues for the car park, the queues for the train stations. So not everybody's going to stay, obviously, but if you could just retain, a quarter of that every game, then that'll help the people that want to get away to clear the roads a bit more. So I think they've really got to think very carefully about the next stage of the build, not just numbers wise in the stadium, but obviously the bigger picture of like getting people in and out as well, and train stations, and maybe even a bit of park and ride somewhere. They own a lot of land around that area, Villa do, so I think they could maybe enhance that for us as well as fans. Anything like that's going to help, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So if you are watching and enjoying this stream, drop it a like, and it will help the channel massively as well. So one more question on the stand, the north stand being done then. So Justin, you're the historian here. You love the history, the heritage a lot. So what about filling in the corners of the stand? At the minute, it's just a standing stand, isn't it? So how would you feel about if you sort of flew from Trinity to the Doug Ellis? What's your vibe on that one?
I'm going to say no, only because there's something quite nice about four stands, isn't there? That's what we've always been. I know that might not be possible, especially with the amount of seats they're going to have to sort of increase on. So you're going to have to go massively higher, whether they're going to put a 3-tier stand there, or I'm not 100% sure what the difference between the Holt End capacity and the North Stand capacity is, but they're on about getting another 8,000 seats in, aren't they, in this initial build? So just replacing the North Stand with a Holt End possibly might not be that far away. So if you could mirror the Holt End on the other side, then that would be a hell of a two ends, wouldn't it? If you could replicate some kind of the atmosphere of the Holt End, the other end of the ground as well, then all of a sudden, and then we haven't got to worry about kicking into the Holt End, have we? We could have atmosphere both ends, so that'd be nice. So on the face of it, no, I would like to keep, just me personally, that look of the four stands, but that might not be possible in the long term because they're going to have to try, and ultimately they are wasted spaces, aren't they, in the corners of the grounds, which is why a lot of the modern grounds are like bowls, aren't they? Because you can really maximise the amount of seating around the whole stadium. But historically, Villa, we're a four-stand club, aren't we? And if we could possibly do it, it'd be nice to retain that.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a new comment here. Who's this here? He's on his holidays. That's nice.
Holiday. He's getting paid too much.
We'll put the shift in. Enjoy your holiday. So before we go into the Leicester preview, I logged on Twitter like probably many Villa fans did yesterday, and I was bombarded with the negativity, which was, in my opinion, pretty ridiculous, to be fair. We are up and down. The form's up and down. We've lost. How many we lost in a row? Is it 3 or 4 now?
4.
4. So we lost 4 in a row. So we're not doing great, but we are stacked in the middle of that league. And there's nothing between about 4 or 5 of us, was there? And these teams all played over the weekend, picked up results, left us in 15th, which obviously isn't great, isn't good enough. I know that. We all know that it's not good enough. I think every person at Villa would agree with that comment, but it's just a bit negative. We've got games in hand on a couple of the teams above us. With 4 points off 9th place, 11 points from Burnley, who are in the relegation zone. I just think we need to just chill out a little bit, really. But that's my little bit of a rant there. So we'll go into the Leicester preview then. So Leicester coming up. Iheanacho loves a goal against us. Jamie Vardy loves a goal against us, so there's nothing to fear there, is there? But Leicester's running. It's not been great the last couple of weeks. I think they played in Europe on Thursday. They played against Newcastle on Sunday. They play on Wednesday before they play us on Saturday. Aston Villa have had a nice 2-week little break. We've had a little holiday as well for some of the players. So we've got to be prepared for this game. We have got to be prepared for this, and we've got to start fixing up a little bit because we've just got to take a bit of responsibility now, haven't we? And start playing some good football and picking up the results, because what we don't want is to end the season having an absolute shocker where we've lost even more games. We've had another couple of losing streaks. You know, I just think we've just got to fix up a bit. Justin, what are you saying?
Yeah, I think when you go on these losing sprees, which we've had far too many of this season, it's very easy to get down, isn't it? And because we haven't played for 2 weeks, and it seems like everybody around us are picking results up, and they're picking results up against teams in the top, 6 or 8 as well, which we just haven't done this season. And that's where you make a big difference, isn't it? If you can start picking big points up against the better clubs in the league. So it's been a bit disheartening, hasn't it, to sit back and not play and then watch, people beating the teams around us, and as the days have progressed, we've just dropped gradually down and down and down. But I think there's 8 teams, about 4 points between about 17 from Leicester, 3, 4, 5, 6, 17, 4 points. We've just got to get our form together, and this is another opportunity to start winning again, isn't it, Leicester? Forget form tables now. We're at the business end of the season, and it's silly season now with results. So I'm not too bothered about Leicester's form. I'm bothered about our form now, and we've really got to pull a result out of the bag, haven't we? We need a bit of confidence. We need a bit of positivity to start flowing through the team again. I feel like we're going to get quite a few changes in the game as well. And I think Gerrard's got to probably now stick with what he feels are players that are going to do him good for next season now, not just this season. I think there's players there blatantly that he's going to try and shift on. So for me now, with 7 odd games left, I think he's just got to not cut them loose, but start relying on the ones that he thinks are going to do the business for him going forward. I don't know who they are. We can guess till we're blue in the face the players that he really trusts and the ones that he's a bit frustrated with. But I think he's just got to set now with the players that he feels are going to do the job for him. I feel like there's going to be changes at the back. Possibly even both centre halves could be left out, which is something that not that long ago you would have thought was unthinkable. But I think that's where we are at the moment. I think he really needs to shake things up. So I think there's players sitting on the bench now that deserve a chance in the running, and hopefully we can turn something around and get a result.
Hannah, how are you feeling about it?
I don't know. Do you know what? I'm just getting flashbacks to the last live we did. I think it must have been for the Tottenham predicted lineup. And we were all joking about the fact that, we just can't concede early. 2 minutes. I think that might be a record. We're at a funny part, aren't we, now? Because it's like our season is done. We're not going to realistically achieve anything. So now it's playing for pride, and it's playing because, one, we want to not do worse than we did last season in 11th. And 2, not put ourselves in a really, really sticky, horrible patch going into summer. Because obviously this is going to be Gerrard's first summer to do what he wants with this club. And a lot of these players should be playing for their shirt now, because if they're essentially being embarrassing on a Saturday or Sunday, then why should we keep them? I'm getting to the point now, I'm getting quite fed up with losing in the same way and just not even drawing a game. Why have we lost 17 games this season? It winds me up. And yes, I'm not worried about relegation at all. I'm not, because we're not going to go down. And we've got some fixtures coming up that hopefully should settle the nerves. Hopefully, if we beat them, as we should. But I just feel like every game we should be viewing as a chance to put things right, set the record straight. But at the same time, every game you think, is this another one we're going to add to the losing tally? And that's really annoying for me, because I am very much a positive fan of this club. But yeah, I've felt a bit miffed the last few days. So I think going into Saturday, like you say, we've got time on our side in the sense that we've played a lot less. Can't remember what break. It must have been after the winter break, where we thought the break was going to do us good. And we were like, they're going to have team bonding, they're going to have loads of rest and loads of training, they're going to come out and smash it. Then who did we lose to? Can't remember. But so I hope it doesn't happen the same way this time. And I hope that this time we've actually used it as a productive break to be honest, give some people some home truths, before we came on the air, we were sort of having a bit of discussion about, was it the right thing for Gerrard to give them a break over Easter? Yes, they're human beings. They deserve a nice break with their families. But does it set the right message when we're losing 4 games in a row, coming up against Leicester, who essentially we want to be in Leicester's position fighting for Europe. They're in and around us in the league table. Does it set the right message that, go off on your holidays?
I don't think, personally, my opinion, Villa fans, let me know in the comment section. I do not think that those players should have gone out on holiday. I really don't, because the thing is, I feel like you have to reward good work, and use it as an initiative to do better and to succeed. I know that West Ham rewarded their players. I don't know what it would have been with, but I know I heard that West Ham players have been rewarded for getting to the semi-final of the Europa League. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely smashed it. Our lads are going off on holiday after losing 4 games in a row. Like you're saying, I think this season, some of the players, we've had this really flaky mentality. And I just think sort of like letting them feel like it's just this happy, easy, we can do shit and still get nice stuff. That, for me, I don't think that works.
I think there's I'm just reading a few of the comments and just thinking, why does it always feel that we are like a soft touch team? Because I feel like this plays into so much of what goes wrong. The reason why we can't hold on to a draw, get a point out of a game, really battle for points, because I just feel like we're so soft, and I hate that word, but why, like you say, why are we rewarding people with holidays? I get that they need a break, 100%. They deserve time off in the week. You can't work them 24/7. But I mean, Luke Dean had an injury, didn't he? And he's posting pictures all the time that he's actively, getting up early, training. So I can't speak for all of them that they've got the same mentality. Clearly he's working hard, but for some of them, we don't know what that's like for them mentally to perform badly on a Saturday and then be like, it's all right, lads, go have a break. We'll reconvene next week. It gets to the point where you just feel like we need to be nasty. We need to become a bit horrible. And whether that means dropping players, giving less luxuries or rewards, I don't know, taking people off at half time. And do you know what I mean? This is so against everything I would normally say. But when it feels like we're not, I don't believe in on the beach. No player should ever feel like they're on the beach. Unless you're winning the title 15 points clear with 2 games to go, why are you on the beach? Because you should be so passionate about your job, for the club you're playing for the people who are paying to come and watch you every week, that you should be working that hard. So don't expect niceness and luxury if you're not giving that 100%, because you don't deserve it from us as fans when we're giving it all to you. And I can't name names because that's not really who I am as a fan. I don't pick out on players, and I don't think there's any one individual throughout the whole season that has been the problem. I think it's been patches of massive inconsistency that just seems to have radiated through the whole squad. Since we went on that good run of 3 wins, since then, these last 4 games, no one's really shone themselves in the best light. So I just feel like someone needs to ruffle us up.
It always feels like a Steve Bruce line. We go again. We'll roll our sleeves up. We'll dust.
How much did we hate it? How much did we hate it?
That's empty words, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whether you are sitting 15th, 14th, like you've said, there's always motivation to do better. Whether you're a midfielder and you need to get more, you want to be getting more individual assists, or a striker, you want to get to say another milestone. But at the minute, it just feels like we're just going through the emotions for nothing, and I just don't understand why. Justin, what are you saying?
Oh, it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, we got 5 weeks left, 7 games left, and that's it. We're done this season, and it feels like it can't come quick enough now. And I think the players it looks like the players are feeling exactly the same. So the manager is in a tough position because he's got basically a squad barring 2 players that he just inherited. I think he's tried to get the best out of them. He's tried to implement a way of playing and a style and all this, and for whatever reason, it hasn't worked as well as he would have hoped. I think he would be bitterly disappointed with how it's gone so far for him. But I also think he's got huge determination to turn it around and get it right next season, which starts the second the season finishes. And I think for everybody's sake, I think, it's almost like we can't wait to get to that point. So people don't want to hear it, but I think there is a bit of players, not turning up now. I think the players, certain ones that probably know that they're going to be on the bike, just don't want to maybe even, they don't want to get injured. They don't want to, possibly ruin their chances of a move in the summer, which is counterproductive, really, because, if you put in the performances on the pitch, you're either going to stay at the club or you're going to get a move to a good club. Because I'm not picking on anybody in particular, but, I'm not saying Leon Bailey's a problem or a troublemaker, but, who's going to pick him up for anywhere near the money we paid if he is going to be surplus to requirements, because he just hasn't done it for whatever reason, injuries, lack of minutes on the pitch, lack of form, he hasn't done it. So if he is surplus to requirements in the summer, which is a possibility, I think, because he just doesn't fit in with the system we play, then we're going to lose money on him, aren't we? So, they're the ones that should really be busting a gut to try and put performances into, put themselves in the shop window, and they just haven't done it, have they? I was crying out for Leon Bailey to get a start, and he got a start against Wolves and didn't do it. So yeah, it's incredibly frustrating time to be a Villa fan. I think we all would, finish the season now if we could and just say, let's just start again next season and go again. But that's just not how football works. We've got to see out the season. We've got to show some pride and some, pride in the shirt and pride in what we're doing. And that's what we want to see starting against Leicester. Whether it's, if we could just grind out a 0-0 draw, I think we'd take that, to be honest, right now. And then with 2 games against Norwich and Burnley, who are fighting for their lives coming up after that, it's not going to get any easier, is it? Because they're the type of clubs at this time of the season that if they've got that desire, which we don't seem to have at the moment, we could have a very, 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 very bad end to the season. I said it a few weeks ago, I think things are going to get worse before they get better, and then we got tonked by Tottenham. So somehow he's got to try and get the mentality right and get us fighting again, starting this Saturday against Leicester.
Definitely.
I think one of the things you mentioned, Justin, about some of the players might be expecting a move and things like that, and that affecting their mentality. I also don't want to. This might be a bit controversial, but I think another thing was when Dean Smith left. I think a lot of the players really liked Dean Smith, as the fans did for the most part, and because I think he was brilliant at people management, and obviously a lot of the players we have now were either brought in by Dean Smith or were promoted with Dean Smith, and there was a lot of closeness there. So I don't know if Steven Gerrard's appointment was as much as it was glamorous for a lot of players thinking, wow, Steven Gerrard, has it ruffled them in the sense that a lot of them aren't used to it, and the way messages are conveyed, is he not getting the best out of them because they were used to Dean Smith? I don't know, but there's something not right at the minute.
No, there's not. Before we go, one little transfer rumour that popped up last week was Kondogbia to Aston Villa from Atletico Madrid. Now, I watched this game, Man City and Atletico Madrid, and I watched him and I thought, my God, he's absolutely destroyed him in the middle. He was fantastic. And this was against Man City's midfield. And I just thought, what a player. And then the rumours came out a couple of days later that Gerrard was in Madrid watching Atletico Madrid and 2 and 2 together. But he's a bit of what we need. And I don't know what Villa fans in the comments think of him, but my God, Justin, how good was he?
Yeah, he was outstanding, wasn't he? We're going to be linked with a lot of these players, aren't we? And we all know we want a 6, and we all know we need a top quality one. So he would fit the bill massively. How true it is, I don't know. We'll find out in the summer. Silly season, and we'll be honest, sooner than we think. Obviously, with the transfer window, as soon as the season opens, and it's going to be make or break for Gerrard, isn't it? And if he can get the likes of that type of player and quality of player in, then obviously things are going to be looking up for next season. But I think we've just got to keep things calm now, get the season over with, and then start thinking about what we're going to do in the summer. But yeah, I mean, let's not get too excited because we know what these rumours can be. You know, we link with a lot of these players. But if you offered him me right now and he was available, then I would say yes, please.
Oh, it's quality. Absolutely quality. The football was good this weekend. I watched the Liverpool game and I thought they were class first half. That goal, that goal Mane scored, the third one of the best goals I think I've seen all season. That is, it was incredible. So we'll do our score predictions. Back onto Villa. Villa fans, put yours in the comments as well. We've had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. We've got to be right up for it. We can't lose this game. We have to win. I'm going 2-1 Villa, surely. Justin?
I'm going to break the habit of a lifetime, and I'm going to say we're going to just get a 0-0, and that will do, mate.
Oh,
no,
things
Andy.
must be bad.
What's Andy saying? Where's Dean? Seen Dean's here. Dean. Oh no. Hannah, what's yours?
I always beg for a clean sheet when we do this. I just don't see us getting one. So I'm going to go the same as Luke. I'm going to go for a 2-1. Do you know what? I don't care as long as we get something. Just even a point at this point. That's how desperate I am to just not feel miserable.
Some positive, quite a few positivities in the comments. To be fair, lots of Villa fans keeping the faith, and I know you wouldn't put it past Villa to win. At some point, we're going to win a game again, and we've had some decent results against Leicester, haven't we? The last few seasons, we've seemed to have been a bit of a bogey side for them. So why not? I'm not ruling out a win, but I think I just want to see a much improved performance. As I say, I've got a sneaky feeling at least half of the back four are going to be changed on Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. Keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, Peter, he's very complimentary of the channel as well. So thanks for continuing to watch us. So right, we'll end it here then. Thank you everybody for watching. What we might do is we might do another live this week. We might do our predicted lineup episode live as well. So because we haven't really been doing any of them because we've had 2 weeks off, we might come back and do that one as well, probably Wednesday evening. So stay tuned for that on our social media. Thank you all for watching. Before you finish watching, just drop the video a like if you haven't already and subscribe to the channel. And thank you very much. Up the Villa.